Oh yeah, we just heard that yawn. Hey, this is Eric with MisplacedPastor.com, and I'm getting ready for a hiking trip that we're leaving on this Thursday to go on a 3-day, 2-night hiking trip through North Carolina on the Appalachian Trail. And I'm excited. It's Sunday afternoon, kind of thinking through my food and my packing and my water and all that kind of stuff. And I'm starting with food and water because the food part of it takes a little longer for me to process and think through, and I don't like being rushed whenever I put it together. I can throw clothes in the bag, food I have to think about. But I'm thinking about water at the moment, and I wanted to do a quick video just to show you guys what I do for my water strategy. And now it's different for different people. Just like with anything in hiking, you have to hike your own hike. You have to figure out how you're going to do things the way that works best for you. But for me, water is something I have to really strategize about because it is so incredibly important. It can also be very heavy, both with the water you carry and the things that you carry, the amount of things and the different things that you carry to hold your water in or to use on the trail. To start with, probably the single most important thing that I use on the trail regarding water is my hydration bladder. I use a Platypus Big Zip, which has worked out great for me. This thing revolutionized my hiking experience because the first several long hikes I went on, like the one I'm going on this weekend, that were 20 milers or more, I was having really severe leg cramps. Come to find out, I was just dehydrated primarily because I would hike and I sweat a lot when I hike, and I was not drinking enough water. So when I got a hydration pouch to put in my backpack and to drink as I went, I drank a lot more water than I was otherwise. When I'd have to stop and undo a water bottle and take a swallow, I was stopping less frequently, drinking less frequently, and I was getting dehydrated and having severe cramps, and made my hiking experience not pleasant at all. One thing about that I'm gonna throw in there, I had to get a replacement tube for my Big Zip, and the reason I had to do that is because when I come home, I drop a little, I fill my all my stuff with water and put a little bleach in it to sterilize it before I store it before the next trip. My habit is to put the hose and everything for the hydration pack inside the bladder and let it all get sterilized. Well, I left it in there too long, and it made the silicone hose deteriorate, and it got sticky feeling and nasty, and I couldn't use it again, so I had to buy another one. So if you do that, if that's the way you do your sterilization for your water stuff, don't put the hose inside the bladder for more than like just overnight. Make sure to take it out, drain it, clean it, let it dry, and don't do that because it'll mess up the hose. So that's what I used in the pack. And then I always carry with me this humongous Nalgene. Okay, now I bought these on the first trip that I went on where I had Nalgene bottles. When I first started buying good equipment, and I got the huge one. I thought, why not bring the big one, right? Why would I get the one that's like this size when I can get the one that's this size? Well, come to find out, if this is what you're going to carry water in, it's a little bit bulky and a little bit hard to use and a little bit of an overkill. I had two of these that I used. Now I bring one, and I bring it empty because I use my bladder as I'm hiking, and then I use this at the campsite to put my clean water in to cook with, to drink with, that kind of stuff. And also, if it's going to be a cold night, I'll use this to heat up water, put hot water in it, put a sock around it, and put it in the hammock with me because I hammock camp, and it's what they call an Nalgene baby. It helps keep you warm, and that is a wonderful, wonderful, blessed thing whenever it's a cold night. So I always bring this with me, but I carry it empty, and I just hook it on the back of my backpack with a carabiner onto my pack and just let it bounce around with me as I go. Actually, I don't let it bounce. It bothers me if it bounces, so I stick it inside the shock cord on the outside of my pack so it doesn't bounce. I also carry a little teeny tiny Nalgene, so I kind of have the two extremes. I have the huge Nalgene and the teeny tiny Nalgene. This one is the one that I use for I always take emergency. That's what it is. I was searching for the name. I always take the emergency packets with me. Let's see, I've got some right here somewhere. Where are they? I've got all my food and stuff laid out across the table, and I've lost track of them. Oh, here they are. All right, so I always carry the emergency packets with me, and I'll drink 2 of them in the morning with my breakfast before we hit the trail, because I have found that I have a tendency to, as my immune system is suppressed because of all the rigor of hiking and the exertion, I tend to will get sick. Like when I come home, I'll end up with, I've come home with strep throat before. I've come home just being worn down. the emergency really helps keep my immune system built up and helps me make it through the trip and not get sick. So I use the little tiny Nalgene for my emergency in the morning. I'll fill it up with water, put 2 of them in there, shake it up, and drink it. I call it my orange juice with my breakfast. So when I go down to the creek and I'm filtering water, I fill both of these up. I fill this one up and I fill this one up with clean water. As far as filtering is concerned, I use the Sawyer Mini little filter. It's been really good. I've enjoyed that. It's a good filter. And the other drinking vessel that I always take with me on my trip is some sort of a coffee mug. So this is the one that I'm using currently. You can see it's been engraved with, laser engraved with the logo from our hiking club and the big hike we do every year. So it's a carabiner on the side. It's a double-walled aluminum mug. It's very, very light. It's not as light as titanium, but it's very, very light. I love it. This is a great mug. It's got a scripture on the back side of it. So you can see there, Psalm 121, 1-2 on the back. So those are the vessels that I bring. And then I also bring with me, when it comes to filtration, I'll bring with me, typically I bring a couple of roll-up bags. Okay, so I bring the one that comes with a Sawyer filter. And so I'll put water in this and then filter it. And then I also bring this vapor. This is a vapor bottle. This one's just got the name brand Eddie Bauer on it, but it's a vapor bottle. And whenever I go down to the creek or the water source to fill up, what I'll do is I will filter enough water to fill up the big Nalgene on the spot. I'll fill up the little Nalgene on the spot. I'll fill up the vapor bag, which is clean drinking water. And then I'll fill this bag up with dirty water to take back to the campsite with me. So I've got one more supply of unfiltered water, so that as I'm cooking and drinking, if I find that I need more, then I don't have to take one more trip down to the water source to do that. I love these bags. A lot of people don't really care for them. I love them because they seem to do well with the filtering. When I fill it up, I don't really have a lot of problem putting water in it. I hear people say that they struggle to get water in it at the source. I don't have any problems with it. I just put my hands around it, blow it to inflate it, and then put it at the water level and just kind of, work with it to make sure it's filling quickly. But I'll fill this thing up, and what I love about it is when you roll it and you squeeze it like a tube of toothpaste, it's just a kind of constant filtering, and it's not giving me any problems. Except for, I have been on a couple trips where the bag failed. And so, I love the bag, but I hate that problem with it. And it always fails right there. It always fails where the seams are glued together around this mouthpiece. And so I have started bringing one of these with me. Now this one's a Life water bottle. You can use a Smart water bottle. They're the same bottle. But you take it, you fill it with dirty water, and then this, the Sawyer Mini, hooks on the end of it, and you can, there it is. You can filter it out. These are great, except I love them because they don't fail, and they're easy to work with to get water in. The only problem, a couple of things with them. I usually can't fill it all the way to the top. Whenever I'm at the water source, it usually goes somewhere around in here. And then also whenever I'm squeezing it out, because it doesn't let air back in, and because you can't, roll it down, you have to squeeze, and then loosen it, let air in. Squeeze, loosen it, let air in. That aggravates me, but it's not as big of an aggravation as being on the trail and the bag failing. So I've gotten to where I bring those with me. No more than the bag weighs. I usually will bring this and bring the bag just so that I've got both. Again, when you may, if you're really super into ultralight backpacking, you may say, well, you're carrying stuff you don't have to have, as ounces make pounds, all that kind of stuff. And I agree with all that because I do all that stuff. But when it comes to water, water is incredibly important. And if you're not going to carry the right tools to be able to filter it and take care of it the way you need to, then that means you're going to have to carry more filtered water, or you're going to get yourself in a problem, in a problem spot. So one other thing about water that I'm going to throw out there that I have found to be incredibly beneficial is there is a little system that you can get to go in the line of your tube for your that goes to your bite valve for your hydration bladder, that lets you filter. It's made by Sawyer. It's a quick, they call it a quick connect, I think. And so you just cut your hose. One end of the hose goes here to this piece. The other end of the hose goes here to this piece, and then these two connect together. And then this lets you unhook it and filter into the line to go to your reservoir, and then you don't have to take out your bag and fight with it whenever you're doing your filtering for your water. That thing right there has been incredibly valuable. So those are the different things that I do for my water. Whenever that's what I drink out of, it's how I filter water, and it's what I do to be prepared when it comes to water on the trail. So like I said, there are lots of different ways to do it, but that's what I do, and I hope it's helpful to you.